All right, let's talk about a tool that pretty much millions of us use every single day, the spreadsheet. But we're going to look at it through a completely new lens. See, ChatGPT is basically becoming your new Excel manager. And trust me, it's about to fundamentally change how you work with data. So here's the big idea for today, the real promise. Stop memorizing formulas and start talking to your spreadsheet. Seriously, it's a total shift in how you think about it. The new essential skill isn't about remembering weird syntax anymore. It's just about knowing how to ask the right question. But before we get to the cool stuff, let's just remember the old way of doing things. Okay, so let's set the scene. Remember the old Excel grind? For so many of us, it was just this mountain of manual tasks, right? So much frustration, trying to remember complicated functions and always having that nagging feeling like, there has to be a better way to do this. I mean, for the longest time, how powerful a spreadsheet was for you depended entirely on how much of an expert you were. You know, the really valuable stuff, cleaning up messy data, doing those tricky lookups, or automating your work with macros, all of that demanded a huge investment of time and very specialized knowledge. Think about something that sounds simple, like cleaning up a list of names. The old way was a whole song and dance. First, you're using find and replace for typos. Then you're using the trim function to get rid of extra spaces. Then you got to use proper to fix the capitalization. And after all that, you still have to remember to copy and paste as values to lock it all in. It's just so tedious and it's super easy to make a mistake. And then there's this guy, the VLOOKUP. Oh yeah, it's like a rite of passage for every Excel user, right? It's incredibly powerful, for sure, but you have to memorize its exact structure. The lookup value, the table array, the column index number, that true-false thing at the end. You get one comma in the wrong place, and boom, the whole thing just breaks. But what if you could just skip all of that? Bypass the memorization completely? Well, this is where the game changes. Let's bring in our AI copilot. Think of a tool like ChatGPT as a translator, one that speaks both your plain English and Excel's really complicated language. So now, instead of trying to think in formulas, you just start by thinking in questions. Let's say you've got a really simple business need. You just want to find the price for a sugar cookie in your product table. That's it. And this is the new way. You just ask. You type a nice, clear, conversational prompt into ChatGPT describing exactly what you want to do. There's no syntax to remember, no memorization needed. It's just a straightforward request. Okay, check this out. This is a perfect side-by-side comparison. On the left, that's the old way to pull a username out of an email, a messy, nested formula combining left and find. And on the right, that's the new way, just a simple sentence. The AI does all the heavy lifting of translating what you mean into the formula you need. And you know what's really cool? The AI isn't just a formula writing machine. It's also a teacher. If it spits out a function and you're like, what does that even do? You can just ask it to explain. Like here, it's breaking down the sum function in simple terms, explaining what that colon means. You actually learn as you go. Okay, so it's pretty clear AI can handle formulas. But what about the really advanced stuff? You know, the final frontier for most Excel users, automation through macros. Let's see how AI tackles writing actual code. I mean, this is the big question, right? Writing a VBA macro, which is basically a custom script to automate repetitive tasks, that was always for the power users, the people who were willing to go learn a whole programming language. So can a conversational AI really bridge that massive gap? So take a look at the request. This isn't code. It's just a list of instructions, exactly how you'd explain a task to a human assistant. You're just laying out the logic, what the email needs to say, where to get the data from, and who to send it to. And then, wow, look at the result. From that simple set of bullet points, the AI generates this complex, functional VBA code. It's creating Outlook objects, it's looping through the spreadsheet rows, and it's constructing the custom emails. This is a level of automation that was just like off limits to most people before. So here's the kicker, the really crucial part. One single, well-written prompt can create a functioning piece of software. What once took hours, maybe even days of coding and debugging can now be generated in just a few seconds. The efficiency game is, well, it's just staggering. Using ChatGPT to write formulas is a huge step forward. But you still have that kind of clunky copy and paste step, right? Well, the next evolution gets rid of that completely. We're starting to see spreadsheets where the AI isn't some separate tool you go to. It's built right into the fabric of the application. So let's put a name to this new category. We'll call it an AI-powered spreadsheet. Think of platforms like Bricks AI, where conversation is the main way you interact. So instead of hunting through menus for an option, you just tell the spreadsheet what you want to achieve. Let's run through a few quick examples of this in action. First, forget the whole complex process of building a pivot table. Now you can just ask, show me revenue by location, and bam, the tool instantly generates the summary for you. Need to apply conditional formatting? Instead of clicking through a bunch of menus and setting up rules, you just state the condition, highlight all rows where order revenue exceeds 50. And just like that, it's done. And what about a task that's notoriously tricky, like deduplication? Now you just specify the criteria in a sentence. Remove duplicates based on the first name, last name, and email column. The AI understands the context and executes the command perfectly. So what does all this mean for you, the user? Well, it's a fundamental change in your role. You're no longer just an operator, meticulously entering formulas and clicking buttons. You are now a manager, directing a powerful AI assistant. And really, this is the ultimate payoff. The barrier to entry for doing advanced data analysis and automation, it's just collapsing. Your ability to get insights is no longer limited by your knowledge of syntax, but by your ability to ask clear, intelligent questions. And that leaves us with one final thought. For years, all this data we've collected has been kind of locked away behind these really complex tools. But now that the barrier is just language itself, what new insights are just sitting there waiting to be discovered? What questions will you finally be able to ask?